All right, Wednesday morning, the 28th of June, and we're back at the Rusty Beauty shop and continuing on the 1962 Triumph TR4 restoration project. Elin's actually started working on the car without me this morning. He started working on trying to get the rear bumper off because we need to do a little bit of work here on the rear valance. So of course, as predicted, most of the things are snapping off to be able to get this bumper off. It's pretty rusty under there, so a few broken bolts and a couple of seized bolts, but we'll get it off one way or the other. I do have, if for some reason we need it, I do have the old TR250 bumpers that we can put back on this car if need be. And I actually have a new front bumper that I got when I purchased this car that may go on the car. This one's got a pretty good ding in the front of it. I don't know if I ever showed you that, but it's got a pretty good bend in the middle. So that would take care of that. Other than that, today I am going to do body work. So this will be sort of part 3, I guess, of the body and paint project. So I'm going to do body work here on the bottoms of the fenders on both the passenger side and the driver's side. And the other thing I want to do is, Elin did a really nice job on fixing this sill area yesterday. There's a little bit better look. I brought my finger sander. We'll just grind down those welds at the front there, and then we'll do a little bit of body work here to clean that area up. So that's progressing. And the good thing is, I yesterday went to my mailbox and I picked up my my parts. So we have about
Mine are still waiting.
Yeah.
I have 2 boxes waiting.
Yeah.
2 projects back for parts here.
So somebody mentioned in the comments yesterday, why are you guys wasting your time doing the body work on this? You should be doing the mechanical stuff. Well, the thing is, parts unfortunately don't grow on trees. So
I planted some over there.
did you
but I
parts
think
trees there?
year,
Next year they'll come.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you know, it takes time for us to get parts, whether it's from the UK or whether it's from the US or even from Canada. It takes time to get parts in. Elin's been waiting for midget parts for what, 2 weeks now?
It's a month.
A month.
May 27th, I think
Yeah.
I ordered them. It is June 27th.
Yeah. So maybe that'll give you a little bit better understanding on, you know, why we're doing things in this sequence. This all has to be done anyway. The car will not, it has to go through a safety and certification process up here. So if there are any visible holes on the car, it'll not certify. So for instance, you know, I filled up a few holes over here, and if those holes were on the bodywork, that would not certify. Same with here. There's going to be some holes back here that we have to fix. There's going to be holes obviously on the sills that we need to fix. So everything generally needs to be done. So it's all part of the timeline. So anyway, hopefully that answers your questions on why we're doing what we're doing. Now we have our parts. Well, the other thing is too, I mean, Elin works full-time on customer cars, so he's got customer cars in the shop. It's not like we can pull a customer car out to work on this. So some jobs we need to actually have the space in the garage to be able to, you know, put the car up on jack stands safely and work under it for a fairly long period of time. So if there's a customer car there, well, that takes precedence over this car. This is a side project, let's say. I work full-time, he works full-time. So this is a part-time job for us to complete when we can. So anyway, there's my little rant this morning. And it's a beautiful day here today. It's 22 degrees Celsius is the high. It's supposed to be sunny, but apparently we've got an air quality warning because there are still wildfire smoke. I can actually smell it a little bit. So it's a little bit hazy, but that's going to be a great day out here to be working on this car. So ready to get crack-a-lackin'?
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
All right, let's go. So Lynn's bringing out the big tools to get the bumper off. It's not cooperating, so reciprocating saw, angle grinder is just about to start to come out with a cutting disc on it. I've cleaned up this area over here on the top side here, and you can get a quick look at what that looks like. So I'll do a little bit more wire brushing in there to clean out as much rust and loose Bondo as I can, and we'll fix this area before we go underneath and fix this area. Hopefully you can see that. So I'll mix up some fiberglass filler and then some Bondo and clean up this area. All right, after a bit of a struggle, the bumper is off. I don't think is there any fasteners left?
Nope. All of them were either snapped or cut.
Yeah.
Oops.
So, hey, damage it. I'm running out of fiberglass filler. Oh, Actually, back to brand new metal. Anyway,
Just a dent.
okay, good to see the bumper off, so now we can get to the rear valence a little bit. At least the bumper brackets are there. Are they still attached to the frame okay?
Yeah.
Eesh. So I'll have to do a little work on those. Those are the low impact bumpers, right? They just kind of rise up when you hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so that is off, which is good. And I've done the first filler course here. Now I'm going to work, kind of just going around the car in circles. Now I'm going to work back on the little door area with the finger grinder, just to grind down those welds. And then we'll put a quick coat of filler here and move on to the next area. As with many of my videos, I do the here's what I'm doing kind of thing, and here's what we've done, which I know people don't like, but sometimes you just get to working, and you know what? It's faster to get the work done than it is to actually film everything. So anyway, sills are done and primed, and not perfect, but good enough, better than they were. Over here, again, also primed. That's looking better. Still have to do the underneath of it, but that's looking better. Now, Elin has spent quite a few hours, probably what, hour and a half?
Yeah.
Getting the rear bumper off. So you can see the myriad of tools, air chisels, drills, reciprocating saws, cut off wheels, pretty much everything under the sun to be able to get the bumper brackets off. And we may have to actually weld the bumper brackets back on, but that's another story. We got a little area over here that's got a bit of an issue, and Elin's going to fix it. He's got a big slapping disc or slapping file, rubber hammer, mallet, hammers and dollies, and he's going to try to hammer that back into shape a little bit, make that look a little bit better. So I don't think you were going to fix that, but I'm happy he is. See, he can't live with it now, so he's going to have to fix it. So once he's done that, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do a little bit of body work back here in this corner where the dent is, but we're not going to do too crazy a job back here. But definitely looking better, a little cleaner without the bumper on there, although the bumper is going to go back on. All right, so there was the before picture of that back corner. Elin's going to go to town, the Metal Master, make that look like new. All right, so we're just moving into the trunk area, and we did do a little bit of rust conversion, but obviously we need to do a bit more. Elin is going to be welding up this little hole here on the side, because that definitely won't pass safety. May have to do a little bit something over here too. Let's see what's under here. Yeah, it's a little bit of Bondo. So, yeah. Some holes over there, I'm just going to fiberglass over, not going to worry about those, not going to worry about that hole over there, but some of these major ones we'll have to do a little bit better repair. The plan is to, after these holes are fixed up, we're just going to bed liner. Originally I was just going to bed liner the wheel tub, but I might actually just go ahead and bed liner the entire rear trunk area. I'm going to take off this back panel because we had a lot of rodents living in here in this back corner. So there might be some more debris in behind this panel here, and we need to take this panel off anyway, as we plan on probably pulling the tank, because we need to inspect the tank to see how rusty that is inside, because there's no sense doing all this work and having a rusty gas tank. That'll just stop us within the first few miles on the road. So I'm going to take this back panel off. Lynn's pulling the welder out, and we'll get this area fixed up. All right, don't remember where I left off, so we'll just recap. If I covered this already, I'm sorry, but that's now painted. That is now painted, the inner sill area there. We took the door panels off because we have some issues with the window glass, and we are going to be clear coating this car eventually, so don't want to get any clear coat. It's just easier to take the door panels off. We needed to fix the glass anyway, and we're also going to do the inner and outer seals, or Elin's going to do that, because that's my least favorite job in the world. Elin's still working on the remnants of the rear bumper. Got it off mostly, just a few broken bolts to get out. He fixed this area back here nicely. So that looks 100% better. So I'll do a little work to clean that up. Welded in a patch here to fix this hole. Just we tacked one in and then we're gonna fiberglass filler over that after we sand that down a little bit. I think I'm gonna ask him to do this one back in this corner because that's a little bit bigger a little bit too big for fiberglass. But gonna make it a little bit bigger. So yeah, we're just trucking along. It's about 12:30, just afternoon. So we're making pretty good progress on this, getting lots of little jobs done that we wanted to get done. Door panel off on this side again. Door channel or window channel issues on this side. Plus the door glass has come out of the channel, so it's coming up on a bit of an angle. So we'll need to fix that as well. But like I said, making progress, so we'll keep on trucking. All right, a little bit more progress. And again, sorry we're not kind of doing this on camera, but mirrors are off both sides. Elin has created a trunk patch. Showed you that patch. He's also created a nice little patch over here. So that's looking good. Rear bumper is off. I don't know if we showed you that already, but rear bumper's off. So I'm gonna come back here and do a little bit of body work. Front bumper is off. It's a little crooked, but it came off fairly easily as opposed to the rear bumper, which was a total pain in the butt. So I do actually have a brand new front bumper for this car that came with the car. I think I mentioned that already. So probably end up using that and the existing overriders. So front valence is actually not bad.
There are some vents in the Bolton.
Yeah, but you know what? We're gonna leave those. Oh yeah, there's a good ding over on that side there. Now he's gonna fix it. Oh, don't kill yourself. Oh, perfect.
Done.
Fixed. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit better job.
Okay. And there's a crack over here in the bonnet that we want to fix. So we're just going to weld this little crack up here. While Elin's welding, I'm going to start working on the rear valence, get that looking a little bit better. So, chugging along. I'm not sure what we're going to do next. What are we going to do? Frame maybe next? Jack it up, do frame?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll take you back under the car once we jack it up out here. All right, gonna rear valence. Rear valence and trunk. All right, bonnet crack is welded nicely. Screwed up the paint though. Oh my God. Anyway, rear of the car is cleaned up. We're just gonna get ready to Bondo back here. So little dent there inwards, and little dent here. Anyway, a little fiberglass filler, get that fixed up, and move on to another area. All right, starting the frame repairs underneath the car. There was a couple of areas in the back that needed to be fixed, so we're working on those first. Then there was one other small area at the front suspension on the vertical piece that attaches the spring perch or tower, whatever you want to call it. That needs to be repaired. So he's just needle scaling it down here to see how big of a hole he's going to open up. So far he said it's the size of his fist, but I don't believe him. So
It's this big.
yeah, the size of the fish he caught the other day. Anyway, so got it up on stands, and we got a jack at the front and an extra stand in the rear, just in case, just for safety's sake. But there she is up in the air and undergoing some frame repairs. We can also now get to the bottom of this sill on both sides. Elin's probably going to hammer that back out, and I can fix that area bodywork wise. So making progress, actually getting a lot of work done, surprisingly. All right, just coming up to 3:30 p.m. and the rear of the car is looking better, just about ready to get that into primer. Elin's finished the 2 frame repairs on the rear of the car. He's going to take you underneath now and give you a quick look of that.
Made a mess of me.
All right.
So that's the after, but I sent some pictures to David from before and in the middle of the process. So I think it looks good for under car welding upside down.
All right. So I'll be as curious to watch the video as you are. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to move to the front of the car as far as the welding is concerned to do that little suspension upright. And I'm going to continue just to work here and get this into primer on the rear. And then I'm not sure where I'm going to go after that, probably to the front valence, see if there's anything needs to be done up there. But we got to do I may as well start on the lower fenders now, since he's got the car up in the air. I can actually start on these lower bits here and get those to look a little bit better. So I got to do both sides. So I'll start on this side because he's going to be working on the driver's side front. So I'll start on this side.
Maybe I should straighten this first.
Yeah, straighten the floor drop on the inside. It looks like somebody had jacked it up. So he's going to try to sort of pound it out and straighten that out a little bit before I start working on this area down here. All right, Elin's making a little repair here. This is the little 90-degree piece that holds the backer board in place. It had kind of rusted off and created a hole there. So we did a 2-in-1 and just welded that in over top. We'll drill the hole later for the backer board. I managed to clean this up front here. And Elin did a couple tacks for me along the bottom. You can see some holes there that are going to be fiberglassed over, but it's not too bad actually. Just a big patch brazed in there over the top at some point. Anyway, we'll break out the fiberglass filler, go to town on this side, move to the other side. All right, Elin's still working on that strut. He's doing a 2-piece repair. Let me see if I can even get in there. I don't think you can see it, but that's what he's working on basically. So we cut it back and is making a new 2-piece piece to go back in there. So that's looking good. I've fixed the passenger side sill and it's looking good. I've got a coat of primer on there, although it's wrinkled a little bit, I think because it reacted with the paint that I painted this morning, because that needs a 24-hour recoat time. So I'm not past the 24 hours, so that's okay. We like the effect, we'll keep it. But anyway, that's looking better. And while Elin's working on that side, as far as the front suspension is concerned, or the frame, I moved back to the trunk. And I'm finally getting around to trying to fix these areas back here. So some holes here we're going to do something with. A little hole there. Got that patch put in there. You can see some light through there. We're going to actually just use that as a backer piece and put some filler over that. Little hole in the corner, and I got this little area over here that Elin put a piece in there, so we'll do a little filler there. So we're going to use a different filler this time. We're going to use well, that's 80 grit to rough that area up so the filler sticks. But we bought a little thing of metal reinforced filler that I've not used before. I don't know where it is. Right here. So apparently this stuff can be drilled and tapped, so it must set pretty firmly. High strength filler can be drilled and tapped for repairing and rebuilding wood, metal, and masonry. Will not rust. Oh, that's good. It won't rust. Guess we can't use it. So we're gonna use that to repair these areas on the trunk and try that filler out for the first time. Anyway, there's the before, and we'll come back with the after. So gonna repair it with the Bondo, and then we're going to clean it a little better as best as we can, and then we're gonna bed liner it eventually. So don't know whether we'll get to that tonight, but I'd definitely like to get the filler work done, and then we'll move on from there. So let's get to it. All right, 6 p.m. It's actually closer to 6:30 p.m. and we're just cleaning up after a very productive day, yeah. I would say. Got a lot done today. Elin finished this repair up here. See if you can see this. So that looks fantastic. Well, look at that welding on the top. Holy jumping, what's going on? Who welded this? Whoa. Nice. So yeah, so that looks really good. We'll get that painted up And a coat of paint. Once we probably strip apart this suspension, we'll paint this little area here. I'm still working on the trunk. I've laid that metal reinforced filler in here, and we're going to wait for this till tomorrow to come back and sand it before we do the bed liner. So that's pretty much the only thing I said I wanted to get done that I didn't get done today, but other than that, we did a heck of a lot of work. So really the only body work left to do is obviously we need to do the trunk. I'm not considering that body work. Is this sill up here we didn't get to. The other side is done. So that will be for tomorrow. The trunk will be for tomorrow. I believe all the welding is done, if I'm not mistaken. We always say that, right? No more welding, and then we'll find something. So I think all the welding is done on the car until we find something else. But yeah, we're pretty close to completing what we want to do with the body. I need to do a bit of patina in some areas that I've freshly painted, but that can be tomorrow because the paint needs to dry anyway. So yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. And like I said, we had a very productive day today. So all right, we'll end the video here, and we'll get back out here tomorrow. I know Elin's probably going to be working on a customer car tomorrow, so I'm going to probably be on this solo for a little bit tomorrow. But really, again, I just need to finish up a few bits and bobs, and then we need to decide what the next step is going to be. We talked about clear coating this possibly maybe on Friday now, and we may just leave it exactly where it sits. Obviously close the garage door, seal it off so we got no clear anywhere. There's no trees above, so might be not a bad area to do it. I was kind of interested in having the car up high as it is right now to do the clear coat spray. It's a little easier to get to the bottom bits of the car. So anyway, I think that's it for today, right?
Yeah.
You had a good day today?
Great productive day.
Didn't you say it's the dirtiest you've been in like 2 years?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll see you guys on the next video tomorrow. Have a good night. All right, Thursday the 29th of June 2023, and we're back at the Rusty Beauty's shop. It's about 9:30 or so. We're just kind of kicking back. Morning.
Morning.
Elin's having a coffee. I'm having my usual breakfast beverage. Sitting here, relaxing, listening to the birds. Looking at the car under the cover, thinking about what we got to do today. And we're coming to the end of the bodywork portion of this project. So that's a good thing. Hopefully we'll finish what needs to be done on the body tub, and then we can start the mechanical stuff maybe later on today, who knows. We were hoping to maybe be able to clear coat this car tomorrow, but looking at the weather forecast, it's not looking promising. Probably until the following Tuesday, the 4th of July, might be the only window we have to clear coat. So we may start doing the mechanical stuff while we can and wait for better weather to do the clear coat. But we need to get the rest of the body and paint work done before we get to that point anyway. So we're gonna at some point get motivated for the day and get out there and break out the grinding wheels and wire wheels, etc., and finish that lower sill piece on the driver's side. And then we're going to work on the trunk today for starters. Lynn's going to take the badging off the front of the car so we can get that sort of scrubbed down and ready for clear. And that's pretty much about it. We'll take you along with some updates along the day. I know I didn't do a very good job yesterday of doing any sort of live action, but it was kind of a bit of a day where we wanted to just really work and tuck into it. So anyway, I gave you some updates here and there, and today will probably most likely be the same. I might bring you along a little bit along the way just so I can show you the process, since I've never really showed you the process from start to finish of me finishing a particular area. So maybe I'll show you the grinding, wire brushing, body filling, sanding of the lower sill here, just so you can get an idea what goes into doing the bodywork on this car. Even though it's, you know, it's not the proper way to do it, I'll show you how we're doing it on this particular car. All right, we're just about to get crack-a-lackin' here for the day. So Elin's up there taking emblems and letters off the front of the car, and I'm sleeping on the ground here under the car, and just wanted to show you what this looks like initially. on the bottom of this fender. So we're going to get the wire brush out in the grinder, and we're going to remove all this rusty bits and thick Bondo that's already on here. And we'll start with, I'm not going to say fresh, clean metal, but, well, start with cleaner metal, let's just say that. And then break out the fiberglass filler, fill up some holes. So there's already had a backer piece put in here, or a scab piece over the top. So at least I have a backing piece that the fiberglass filler will stick to. So there's the before. Let's set you up on a tripod. Well, actually, I don't think I'll set you up on a tripod for the grinding bit, but let me grind it and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like before we go to the next step. All right, here's a quick look of what it looks like under here, all ground down. So that should give us enough surface to stick to. We're going to hit it with a panel prep, paper towel, just to get it nice and clean before we go to the next step, which is going to be the fiberglass filler. So I'll take it back up top, we'll mix up some filler, and we'll come underneath here, apply the filler, sand that down. So fiberglass filler first, sand it down to 80 grip, and then we'll do a coat of, or a couple coats, probably a Bondo on top of that, till we get it to a smooth, level surface. Primer it, probably white coat, red coat, and then final patina sanding. All right, it's kind of nice laying down here though in the sun. Well, I'm not even really sure if you can see this or not, but if you can't see it, you can be soothed by the sound of my voice. All right, fiberglass filler, short strand filler. Yeah, we're gonna need a fair amount of it. I'm almost out of this. So I get a fairly big amount of this on the board. That should be good. Now, let's see if I have enough hardener. I have another hardener somewhere in my bin, but let's see if I can squeeze enough out of here. All right, so just need a little puddle of hardener in this. So that's probably pretty good. All right, so there's our fiberglass. So you're gonna wanna mix this so that hardener is mixed thoroughly through it. You don't see any more blue streaks. You're also trying not to aerate the filler. So try not to mix it like I just did. You kind of want to scrape it together. I don't know if you can see that. Just sort of back and forth. Just keep sort of gathering it up. And obviously, that since there's hardener in here, you kind of need to work fairly quickly. Otherwise, it's going to harden on your mixing board. All right, that looks like it's pretty well incorporated. So I'm going to go to the car now and start applying this. Come along with me. Sorry for the shaky camera. Can you guys see it all there? Probably. All right. This is not going to be pretty. I'm just trying to fill up those large voids first.
No notification.
Elin's getting upset because he's waiting on parts. At the mercy of the post office. Oh, that's gonna be messy. So generally sometimes you just have to kind of get it slapped on there, and as it starts to dry it tends to stay in place a bit better. I'm just trying to really jam it in those voids there. Unfortunately, what I'm doing, Lynn's already mentioned it, so what I'm doing obviously is the incorrect way to do things, but I guarantee you that this happens every day in every body shop. They'll just, what we call hack and pack it together. Still do that. I used to do it in the old days, they still do it today. So they'll just slap it back together with baling wire, duct tape, and newspaper. Call it good. And then Elin and I will buy it. It's starting to look a little bit better now. Don't have no idea whether you can see that or not, but it's probably better that you can't see it. It's starting to harden now. So now is the time to fill those big areas. Like I said, we're trying to put a fair amount of pressure on here. I've got a metal spatula here. I don't know if you can probably tell that, but with the metal you can get a bit more pressure on the filler versus the plastic. So one last bit. And that's pretty much about it for that. Are you trying to be quiet up there?
No,
just
observing.
Enjoying the sounds of nature?
Thinking of what's next.
Okay. That looks all beautiful. Okay. Let's go clean up our spatula. Technically it's a spatula, right? Talking to myself. Spreader, scraper. Guess I'm still in the cooking world. Probably could use a spatula. All right. Let that dry, and we'll come back. All right, that's now dry. So we've got our a DA sander here with 80 grit sandpaper, and we've got our blowgun standing by. We're just going to clean that off afterwards. So we'll just hit it with the DA, smooth it out best as possible, and that will be our base. And then we go to the Bondo after this. So let's go smooth this out. You enjoyed that. All right, little panel prep. Panel prep for breakfast. Breakfast of champions. All right, so that's nice and clean. Ready for the next coat of Bondo now. Just regular polyester Bondo. So let me bring you a little bit closer here. I don't know if you can see this. I'll take you off the tripod. All right, there's what the first coat of fiberglass filler looks like. And it's kind of like a guide coat. You can see obviously where there are still voids to be filled because the dark green of that fiberglass filler never got touched by the sanding disc. And we still have a little bit of a void there that we're going to fill with the regular Bondo. So, all right, next up, polyester Bondo. We're using the Evercoat Rage Ultra for anybody that wants to know. All right, we're back with a big board of regular polyester. Again, I don't know whether you can see this or not, but doing the best I can in an awkward situation. And you know how much I like videoing, work in progress. All right, so plastic spreader. We're going to try to get some on the car and not on me. Oopsie. I should mention, you don't want to try to do this all in one shot. It's got to be multiple thin coats, thinnish coats, if you're doing it properly. Piece of crap in my Bondo. Cat's getting fed. You can see it come running. And we just try to make it as smooth as possible so it's a little bit less sanding for us. That's not looking too bad. Maybe a little bit more up here. It's like Picasso was under here, or probably better would be Michelangelo. This is the Sistine Chapel of Bondo. Okay. Resist the urge to keep swiping at it, just make it worse. All right, so again, let's let that dry and we'll sand it again before we go to our next coat. We mixed a little bit too much Bondo up, so I'll have that for breakfast. It's kind of like Bircher muesli. All right, we'll come back. Oh. Okay. Second verse, same as the first, except with Bondo instead of fiberglass. Dry, yep. Put your mask on. Well, the next guy that owns this car, Elin, I'm looking at you, is going to be very upset with me for bondoing over this front fender mounting bolt. Good luck with that. Okay. One more coat of Bondo and it should be good. All right, third time's a charm. Uh-oh. Okay. See, I was concentrating pretty hard there. Didn't say a word. Riveting video. Oops. 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 Okay. Final sanding coming up. All right, while we're letting that last coat of Bondo dry, we're gonna move back to the trunk project. And I've got some rust converter here. We're gonna give it another shot of rust converter. So just with a brush on. So we'll get this maybe looking a little bit better before we go to the next step, which is gonna be, I think I've decided what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the outside bits with the, what's it called again? Colonial red. And I bought some clear coat as well. So Colonial red outside in the trunk or spare tire compartment. We'll do in truck bed liner. That's the plan. See if that works. My gloves are not really touch friendly. All right, we'll let that do its thing, and we'll come back when it's dry. And we'll continue on. In the meantime, multitasking, we'll do a final sanding on the Bondo up here. So I don't think I'm going to set you up for the final sanding. You've seen me sand it already, so I'm just going to do the same thing. We'll bring you back when that's done. All right, now we're going to do a little hand sanding. Since we've got it at 80 grit on the DA, we now have a block with 240 grit. I think it's 240. Yeah, 240 upside down. 240 grit, and we're just going to give that a quick sand. So we'll get it to 240 grit, and then we'll get it into primer. Probably do a coat or two of primer, sand that to 400 grit. Then we go to our color coats. So we'll just give this a quick sand. I mean, really quick. All right, panel prep. Clean that off. Good to go to primer. I'll give you a quick look of that once we panel prep it before we spray. All right, cleaned up, ready for primer. So I'll give you a quicker look of that. So there's what that looks like. Looks a little better than it did. So like I said, we'll throw some high build primer on there, and then we'll let that dry, sand that down to 400 grit, and then apply our color coats. So we'll do that now. Okay, it's been a little bit since we've done an update, so I thought I would show you the finished product on that front sill. So we've got, that's all complete, so I think that's looking much better than it did. I think you'll have to agree. So again, not done exactly the right way, but done nonetheless. All right, so we are working on the trunk project. We'll take a quick shot of that in just a minute. We'll give you an update. I've got some paint and some bed liner drying, so stand by. We've got another 5 minutes before we do the second coat. I'll show you the finished product there.
At the same time, maybe that's what
So Nick likes the look of my car so much, he's decided to do it on his car as well. So
this is gonna go over this. So for this,
just kidding.
we're gonna have to just
He's actually sanding his down in order to get ready for paint at some point. So maybe I've inspired to do some, get him to do some sanding or something like that. But anyway, here's the trunk update. So it's definitely looking better than it did. A couple coats of truck bed liner and some paint and actual clear coat in the trunk. So that's looking a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. So you might actually want to put some luggage back here at some point and a spare tire. So yeah, so that looks good. So let's move on to the next little bit. I'm thinking we're getting pretty much close to doing body stuff and might have to end this video series soon because we're going to be switching over to mechanical shortly, and I don't want to mix the two videos up. So let me see what else there is to do, and I'll come back with one more update probably on this project as far as body and paint is concerned. All right, I think we're going to put an end to the body work series of videos. The next one you'll see will be me and Elin doing the clear coat on this. Now, there are a few areas that I mentioned that I'll have to go back and do a little touch-ups as far as patina is concerned, like these areas down here once this is dried. So prior to us clear coating, I'll just come back and touch these areas up. But other than that, it's pretty much done as far as the bodywork is concerned, as far as we're going to go on the car. I do need to obviously do a full wash down on the car again, and we'll probably do a full Comet wash and then a full wash with Dawn before we get to the clear coat phase. And we're also going to have to probably Scotch-Brite the entire car so the clear coat sticks. So like I said, I think that's it for the body and paint series. We will bring you back when we get to the clear coat. So what Elin is doing now is he's got some penetrating spray, and he's pretty much hitting every nut and bolt and fastener underneath the car, because soon we're going to be going whole hog on everything from the rear suspension, rear brakes, front suspension, front brakes. We're going to do some exhaust work. Pretty much anything mechanically related that needs to be inspected will be inspected. I've got a few $1,000s worth of parts to throw at this car. I believe we're going to pull the entire rear axle out of the car to make it a little easier for us to work on. The seals need to be done on it. Everything pretty much needs to be done on the rear end anyway, and I'd like to probably clean it up. So the intent really is to have a sort of a pretty clean mechanical underpinning on this car, including we'll probably end up doing a little bit of spray painting on the frame, since all the components are basically going to be removed away from it, like leaf springs and rear axle, for example. We should probably be able to get a quick coat of paint on the frame, front and rear, because we're going to be stripping the front suspension components as well. So we'll be doing that, as well as the intent is probably re-rubberize, undercoat the interiors of the wheel wells as well. So again, quick wire brush there and a quick recoating with the rubberized undercoating to make that look a little bit better. So that's the what we're thinking of as far as going forward is concerned. Elin just started actually pulling off the the exhaust manifold that we'd had an issue with when the carburetors were stuck to it, and we broke the tabs off to be able to get the carbs off. We actually have a broken stud here in the head as well that we need to fix. So he's started the mechanical part already, and like I said, he's under there spraying things so we can make it, maybe give us a fighting chance to get some of those fasteners underneath the car undone. Anyway, I'm rambling now, so we'll put an end to this video, and we'll see you on the next video, which will most likely be a mechanical video on this car, because as I'd mentioned, it's probably going to be a few days before we can get good enough weather to get this clear coated. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, and thanks for subscribing. We'll see you on the next video.